You will stop playing.
Yeah, I see you got that new Mercedes. I might let you drive me crazy. Usually I ain't the type to stay. Cause you could fall in and go psycho.
What up, YouTube? Let me get myself nice and centered here. Remember in the last episode when I said that I was ready to just hang out in Boston and not travel for a couple of days? Well, that lasted literally like 3 days because I decided pretty much the day after that I was going to fly home last minute and surprise my mom for her birthday, which was awesome. It was a ton of fun, but that's not what I want to talk about today. Last week was actually my birthday as well. I decided to treat myself a little bit and buy myself a little bit of a new toy. So what I did was I bought this. This is the Nikon FE2. It's one of Nikon's older film cameras. I believe that it was made in like the 1970s or 1980s. I don't want to talk specifically about this camera today, but what I do want to talk about today is 5 reasons why you should shoot film this year in 2019. Let's get right into it. So in a world of constantly improving digital cameras and constantly improving just technology as a whole, why should you go back in time and start shooting on a film camera? Well, the first reason, and arguably the most important reason, is because it makes you shoot smarter. Now, what do I mean by shoot smarter? Well, with a digital camera, you're used to being able to take an unlimited amount of photos. So whether or not a photo is actually a good photo, you're probably gonna snap it either way, just because you're able to do so. With film, you only have 36 shots in a roll, and film is not cheap nowadays. It can be anywhere from $3 or $4 a roll, all the way up to something like $15 a roll. So when you know that it costs you 10 or 15 bucks to purchase those 36 shots, you know for a fact that you're not just gonna be spraying around random photos at everything that you see. You're gonna think through every photo that you take, and you're really gonna think about every composition before you snap that shutter. The best thing about this is that it results in you spending more time actually properly exposing for and properly composing your images, which ultimately, at the end of the day, results in you becoming a better photographer. That's way better. All right, I just opened up that window because the lighting in those past couple shots was terrible, but this looks a lot better, so let's go. The second reason why you should shoot film in 2019 is just to get that film aesthetic. Analog film stock just really has a unique look to it that's incredibly difficult to reproduce digitally. People have continually been trying to recreate the look of film on their digital cameras and on their computers for years now, and quite frankly, it just never ends up looking perfect, and it never ends up really looking all that good. The best possible way to get that film aesthetic is through just shooting analog film. There's tons of different film stocks out there, whether you want a really saturated look or a really desaturated look, or maybe even black and white. There's a ton to choose from, and it's really fun just choosing those different film stocks and figuring out which one works best for you and for what you shoot. The third reason why you should shoot film is because of the gear selection. If you're somebody like me who just loves shooting on different cameras, trying out new things, getting new lenses, and just trying different systems, film is absolutely the best thing that you can possibly try. Film cameras have been around forever, so there's a ton of different brands that you can try, a ton of different camera systems you can try, and there's hundreds or probably even thousands of different lenses that you can get. Whether you want a Canon camera or a Nikon camera, or maybe even a Pentax or a Leica or a Mamiya or something like that, there's a million different cameras to try. And not only are there different camera brands to try, but there's also different sizes of film that you can try. Whether you want to shoot 35mm, which is more of the traditional type of film that I like to shoot, which is much smaller and allows for a compact camera, or if you want to shoot medium format, which allows for a much bigger camera but a higher resolution piece of film, or if you want to go crazy and you want to shoot on a piece of film that's the size of your head, you can even shoot a large format camera, which allows for essentially the equivalent of like a 100 or 200 megapixel picture. With film cameras especially, you can get a perfectly functional, almost in pristine condition camera for less than $100. I've literally bought a Canon, I believe it was a TX or a T70 camera or something like that, for $48 on KEH.com, and it was perfectly functional and worked for me for like 2 or 3 years. The fourth reason to shoot film, and quite possibly my favorite reason to shoot it, is the patience that comes along with it. We live in a time where we're so used to instant gratification for just about everything. Especially with photography, we can take a photo, look at the back of our camera, and instantly know whether or not it was a good picture. And we can also just instantly take it off of our SD card, plug it into the computer, edit it up, and then send it off to the internet for the world to see. With film, it is a completely different process. With film, you can take photos all day long and have no idea whether the photos are coming out great, if they're coming out terrible, or if you're just completely blowing the exposure on all of your photos. Once you're done taking a bunch of photos, you either need to develop the film yourself and then scan it and process it in order to see the end result, or you have to send it off to somebody else in order to do the development and scanning for you. This whole process can take anywhere from a couple of days to maybe even a week or two. So the time between you actually taking the photos and seeing the end result is an extremely long period of time compared to what we're used to with digital. Now this probably sounds like a terrible thing, having to wait 2 weeks between taking your photos and then actually seeing the end result, but it's actually probably my favorite part of the entire process. The excitement that you have when you finally receive your photos back, either in the mail or via email or whatever, is incredible. And being able to see the end result, and if you have an amazing image that you didn't realize you had, it's one of the coolest things ever. I'm quite possibly the most impatient person in the world, but waiting for my film photos to be developed and scanned makes it so much more exciting to finally see the end result and find out whether or not I actually got a good photo in that roll of film. The fifth and final reason why I think that you should take film photos in 2019 is that I think that film photos are so much more memorable than taking photos with your digital camera. Because you're forced to shoot smarter and actually think through every single composition and exposure that you're taking, it makes it much more memorable taking each and every shot. It makes you actually remember the process of taking the photo rather than just snapping at everything that you see with a digital camera. When I go on a shoot with a film camera, I end up shooting something like 3 to 5 photos every time. Whereas in contrast with that, with a digital camera, I'll take something like 100 photos just because I can. This results in me remembering taking each and every frame with my film camera, making it feel like I'm actually capturing a moment in time rather than just taking a standard normal photo. Let me know in the comment section below if you're a person that shoots film consistently, or maybe you're somebody that just started doing it very recently. Also, let me know what your favorite film stock is. I'm always down to try something new, and I love to hear what people out there are shooting. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to see what I have coming in the future. My next video is most likely going to be about my editing process and how I edited some of the recent photos that I posted to Instagram. Please hit that subscribe button to see more, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.
Yeah, I see you got that new Mercedes. I might let you drive me crazy. Usually I ain't the type to stay.